So today I want to talk about Chrome OS. And last class period we talked about operating systems. The thing about Chrome OS is really odd. It's like blurring the lines of what is a traditional operating system. I mean, it's a browser, but is it an operating system? And I think that's what we need to find out today. So, yeah, really interesting conversation to have, and that's why the point of this lesson number 2, is about Chrome OS. So let's get into it. What is Chrome OS? Well, it's an operating system based on the Linux kernel and designed by Google to work with web applications and installed applications. So it's basically an entire operating system built within the browser. Sort of. But I mean, it functions like one. And you'll see that in a couple seconds when we go into really the guts of it. But the first thing you should see is there's kind of two flavors of it. There's a version of it that runs as a browser called Google Chrome, and we run that on our PCs, our Android devices, our Apple devices, whatever. And then there's a flavor of it called Chromexium, which is kind of like the operating system, actual installable version of it. And you would put that on a specific type of computer, which I'll talk about in a second. But anyway, it's an entire operating system that's Linux-based, but, is running in the browser, or can be run on a machine. Yeah, it's kind of cool, actually. So back to the definition of what we learned last class period, which is what is an operating system. An operating system is a program, again, that's the key word, program, that acts as an interface between the user and the computer hardware. So if it's an interface that acts kind of with the user and the computer hardware, which I think Chrome does, and controls and executes all kinds of programs, has settings, has user interfaces, has the ability to sign in and sign out, that's kind of the traditional definition of an operating system. And Chrome does all of those things. That's the thing. So is it an operating system? I don't know. I'll kind of let you decide that, but I personally think it kind of is. So the flavor of Chromexium, you can actually, which is better known as Chrome, whatever, but you could run it on a specific type of computer called a Chromebook. And so basically, what is a Chromebook? It's a computer with an operating system that's almost entirely on the internet. You can download different certain aspects of, like, you can work offline on Google Docs or something like that on a Chromebook, but the majority of it's basically just a window to the internet. That's what I would entitle it, because it's based on a computer that's basically a web browser, and all it has is Google Chrome and all cloud-based apps. It's crazy. Like, even your print drivers would be stored in the cloud, so that's cool. And that's what a Chromebook is. It's a computer that's kind of a shell. It's not really there. That's why they don't need much memory, because the majority of everything you're storing is on the internet. And really, that's what most people want to do anyway these days. They want to be on the internet. Who wants to not be on the internet? The internet's cool. So that's why they built computers around that whole idea. It's very forward thinking, if that makes sense. Maybe one day we won't actually get on our computer to do anything and work locally on the computer. We'll actually just want to be on the internet, because that's where everything is anyway. So why would we need, everything stored on our computer? I guess that's their thought process. And I really kind of jive with that, to be honest. So that's what a Chromebook is. It's basically, an online internet operating system. But parts of it are on the computer, obviously. The operating system itself is stored on the computer, but the apps kind of are just links to everything online. So how do you use Chrome OS? Because, at least the browser version of it. Because it's useful, and it's probably the most used browser on the planet. I mean, pretty much everybody uses Chrome. If you don't, then it's way cooler, let me tell you. But anyway, so there's settings in the right-hand corner, and I'll talk about this in just a second. I'm going to get out of this PowerPoint. And then there's two things that you can add to Chrome. These are extensions and apps. An extension, and this is a really important definition, is an add-on to a web browser itself that affects how the web looks to you. So it's kind of like a theme or an overlay. And then an app is a program that you add to the web browser. So again, web browser, I use that term very loosely because it's kind of like an operating system. It has settings, it has extensions, has the ability to customize it, and it has apps. You know, let's be honest, it's a user interface, kind of like the definition. So anyway, let's go actually try it out. At this point, this is Chrome for me, and just like I said, up in the corner right there, we've got the 3 dots. Click on those, and you have the settings right there. Okay, so these are all of your personalization settings. You have your passwords, you have your autofill, you have, which by the way is how, if you save a password, that's where it all goes. You have the search engine, the default search engine, the appearance of the whole thing, the default browser that you've picked, on startup, which pages open, different things like that. Little nuggets, clearing all your browser history are in here. The themes that you've picked, lots of different advanced settings that are here in this specific thing. And you can search for settings too at the top, which is really helpful. So if you ever forget where something is, you know, bam, search for it. It's pretty awesome. So this is where you would find all of the backstory settings, but then we specifically said there's something called apps and themes. So where are those? Well, again, in the 3 dots, if you look at more tools here, you've got something called extensions. And the reason I'm directing you to go this way and not the other way is you'll see in just a second. But when you click extensions, these are all of the browser extensions that I have. Up here, you can see in the little menu bar here. So we've got Grammarly, and we've got the eyedropper tool, and all the different stuff here. We have Helium 10, something used for Amazon FBA, pretty cool. But anyway, you've Google Docs, Sheets, Slides. All these different things are turned on up there. But if you wanted to remove one of them, or get rid of them once you installed it, this is where you would remove it. Of course, what if you haven't installed one? Well, then you would kind of need to go to this little hamburger menu on the side, click that, and open Chrome Web Store. It's down here at the bottom. That actually is a really cool spot because it has, all these different browser extensions. And here's the best part. There's not just browser extensions in here. There's games. Games. Okay, big pause for effect. Anyway, so some of you are going to be playing in your browser now. But anyway, there's so many different ones you can add. If you wanted to add like Spotify, for instance, as an app, that's one I recommend getting for sure. It's an extension that will then run your browser. Grammarly, really helpful. I use it all the time. You just search the store, make sure you're clicked on extensions, and Grammarly. Search for it. Grammarly. Well, Grammarly. Grammarly. Wow. Grammarly. There we go. Found it. You'd be surprised how often that happens to me. Spelling, not my best subject. But anyway, Grammarly, there it is. For Chrome, you would just simply add to Chrome, see like all the little buttons here, and then you could click on it and utilize it or make sure it's activated or whatever. Something's going on with this site, but it's not supported in this site. Only when you're on like a site writing does it start to support it, if that makes sense. So, but anyway, it's a pretty cool thing. That's extensions. The second thing is themes, which are really cool. And let me back out here just a second. All right, themes, you can stylize your browser. So if you've ever wanted to have the Avengers as your background for your browser, search for it right here. Search the store once you clicked on themes. If you ever want to get a hold of maybe a cool avatar, a space theme, there's so many here, like pink, Paris, waterfall. Ooh, look at that. Black Panther. Let's go. Batman, my favorite, obviously. you would just, click whichever one you want and hit add to Chrome. And then when you open your new browser page, it would turn this into that theme, kind of like a skin, if you will, over top everything. So that's pretty cool. The next thing I have in my PowerPoint here is Chrome web pages. They have a little couple settings that are very important to know if we're talking basics here. To create a new tab, you just click the new tab button, little extra tab there. And to bookmark a page, you click the star on the URL bar. So let's actually do that because that's pretty important. Again, I've been doing this the whole time, just clicking new tab and adding a tab. And if you do Control N, you actually get an entirely new browser window, which is a pretty important hotkey to know. But here's the cool hotkey to know. Control Shift N gives you something called an incognito window. And I know this sounds like a bad thing to know, but Chrome won't save the information. For instance, browsing history, cookies, sites data. Why would you need to ever do this? Well, a lot of times for someone like me, I will be opening up multiple accounts or email addresses or things that I'm doing at the same time. I need to be signed into two different things at once. An incognito window allows me to do that. It allows me to sign into another Gmail account here, or another Facebook account here, or another account of any type over here, and then when I get done, just blow it away, type of thing, and it just is gone. It's blown into oblivion. Now, again, that doesn't mean if you're wiping your browsing history all the time, that's probably a bad sign, and there's something to be said for doing wrong things on a computer too. But that is how you do an incognito window, and they're super helpful. Again, Control-Shift-N brings up an entire incognito window, and Control-N just brings up a new window if you wanted one. And of course, you can just drop it in. So no big deal. You can also right-click and hit duplicate on a tab. That's pretty helpful. If you have something open in, let's just say, Amazon, and you right-click and hit duplicate. You can also pin a tab. So if I hit pin, it will actually always go here. And when I open the browser, it's, there. So that's nice to have. And then, lastly, if I wanted to, let's just say I go to a site, Proxmox. This is a server application. Okay, let's just say I wanted to bookmark this site or save this site for later. I could press on bookmark this tab right here, click this little star, and then save it. Done. When I save it, then if I ever want to go back to it, I could click the three dots, and here we have bookmarks, and you'll notice it's in the list here, right? I could even show the bookmarks bar, so I'm going to click that on just for a second here, and all of my bookmarks that are favorites kind of that I go to regularly will show up below this. Now, I don't really want that on, so I'm going to take it off, but super helpful to know. And again, I can just take it right off if I want to. Something else to be said, right on the homepage of, speaking of bookmarks in other words, right on the homepage of Google, you can just add a shortcut here too, and you can just drop the URL in. So again, if I had another one open, whatever this is gaming backgrounds, so that's a pretty cool site. If I had this one, I could just drop the URL in there and then give it a name like gaming backgrounds, as if, for instance, hit done, and there we go. It's actually a bookmark on this, and if I don't want it, just click it, hit remove, and it's gone. So yeah, you can even restore them right here at the bottom. You can customize this. If you click this thing, there's lots of different themes that are integrated into Google Chrome. It's pretty cool. This overall interface of Chrome is very unique and very helpful. So the last thing is, I feel like the Chrome Web Store is probably the one element that kind of drops Chrome OS or the Chrome browser into the category of operating system in my mind, and also the fact that it has so many settings, which a lot of browsers do. But I think that that's what kind of drops it into it in my mind, the ability to literally do anything. And one last thing, how I downloaded Chrome in the first place, because this is a basic course, is I just went to, I just typed Chrome, into the browser, and literally right here, Google Chrome. This is how you would download Chrome. And you just click download and install it. So Chrome is super easy, and it's a great product. But in my mind, I consider it an operating system. It's up for debate. You do whatever you want to do. You decide whatever you want to decide on that. But anyway, so that's all for this lesson, and hopefully you learned something. This has been Basic Computers Lesson 2, and I will see you in the next video.